Hi everybody, this is Dr. Kaushik Sengupta here. I'm the director of the online MBA program at the Zarb School of Business at Hofstra University. And thank you for attending tonight's webinar. Usually what we do is we do a little bit of overview about the program and go through a few different things regarding the program, the courses, the schedule, and a few other aspects, and then open it up for questions. If you have questions as we go through the session tonight, please post them on the chat window so we can respond to them as they come in, and we're going to give a few minutes towards the end to answer or respond to any questions that you may have. I also have Mr. Jeff Mon, and he's right now on a mute mode here because I'm going to bring him in for a few of the portions of this session tonight. He is the executive director of all graduate business programs in the Zarb School. So he and I kind of work closely on the online MBA program, and essentially to make sure that we have a proper program and the right people in the program and so on. So let me just start off a little bit in terms of the rankings, because I know that this is important to all of us, including you as a potential student. You should be really looking at programs that bring good value, and one of the ways by which the value is validated by external agencies is through the rankings. So the first ranking that we have is the Bloomberg Business Ranking that's shown here, which is essentially our part-time MBA program on campus. And the reason why we put it up here is because everything that we do in the online program is actually based on the Bedrock program, which is the one that we have on campus. And so that's our basis for where we are with the MBA program offerings, that is. So you can see that we are in the top 5 in the Northeast and so on. And so kind of look at the rankings from the Business Week perspective, that is. And then the second set of rankings, which is the U.S. News and World Report rankings, is specifically for the online MBA program. And this last year's ranking, as you can see, we were ranked in the top 75. So it's number 62 out of the 237 programs that were ranked nationwide. And as you can see, the data there is pretty impressive because 237 is like an 11% increase in the number of ranked programs from the previous year. And in terms of programs, the number of programs that participated in the survey, there were close to 1,000 programs which participated. And just so you know, which you may already know, is that the online MBA program, we started this program in fall of 2011. So this year we are, basically this webinar is for obviously the fall 2014 admission cycle. So this will be our 4th cohort in the program. It's still a relatively new program in that sense, and in fact I was actually part of responding to this US News survey, and there was quite a few questions which we could not even respond to because the program is still so new. So there is also an expectation, therefore, that this ranking is going to get better in the next few years. That is going up. So essentially, we look at this as a good vindication of the program as to where it is now, despite the fact that it's only in its 4th cohort cycle, basically. So let me just give a little bit of overview in terms of the program itself. It's a 2-year accredited cohort program, and because the Zarb School is AACSB accredited, the program is also has the same AACSB accreditation. And as you may know, AACSB is the highest level of accreditation that a business school can get. In fact, we just got our re-accreditation on AACSB from late last fall. And so as part of that review cycle, the external audit team was on campus, and they actually did look at the online MBA program as part of the accreditation decision, for the overall Zarb School, that is. As it says here, this is a cohort-based program, and when we say it's a cohort, it essentially means that if you stay in the cohort plan, which is you take the courses that we tell you to take in the sequence that we prescribe to you, you will finish the program in the 2 years, basically. But we do have an option where if you say the course load is too high or you want to go to a reduced load for a different reason, we could do that, and we do have the flexibility where you can opt out of the cohort after the first semester, where you end up taking obviously longer than 2 years, and in that case you have up to 5 years to complete the program. So this is actually the way we designed this is that we want to bring in the flexibility to the working student basically, and so you'll see all the courses are online, but the flexibility is there, number one, to go out of the cohort if you want a slightly more reduced course load plan, that is. You also have an option where you can go and take one of the concentrations that we have available on campus, which would then be available on a hybrid option basis. And I'm going to come to that a little bit later on in the session tonight to discuss that a little bit in detail, that is. All right, there's a separate admissions process for this program, which means you apply to the online MBA program specifically, and should you get admitted, you will obviously get admitted to this program. There is a transfer possible to the evening MBA and the part-time MBA program after you get admitted to the online MBA, but there are some conditions which we have to kind of look at, especially on the GMAT condition, which I'll talk to again a little bit in detail in slightly later on. You do get the same MBA degree as in the on-campus program. We believe that you're getting essentially the same education essentially from the same faculty members who are teaching on campus, that is. So there is no difference in quality as such in terms of the courses and the content of the courses and so on. We're just delivering this online basically is the main difference. So the way the program is structured in terms of the curriculum is that we usually go, and again I'm talking about the 2-year cohort plan here. So if you start the cohort plan, let's say this fall, you'll be taking courses over the fall 2014 semester, and then there's a spring 2015. There's a couple of courses over the next summer, and then the following fall and the following spring you finish the program in essentially spring 2016. All right, so that's the plan here. And as you can see, the full course load here basically says that you take 4 courses a semester, 7 weeks each, 2 courses at a time. So essentially you take 2 courses for the first 7 weeks, and then you have a 1-week break, and you then take the next 2 courses in the following 7 weeks. So it kind of follows in the 15-week semester plan of a fall, spring, summer, and then the following fall and spring. But essentially you're dealing with 2 courses at any one time. The courses are all online, but we do have 2 mandatory residencies on campus. So there is the orientation residency, and as you can see for this fall, we're going to do this residency from August 22nd through the 24th, which is a Friday through a Sunday basically. And the residency is actually, I'm going to talk, the next slide discusses the residency a little bit more in detail, especially the orientation residency, so I'm going to talk to that a little bit more. But we do have that one, and then we have a capstone residency at the end of the program, and there's also some additional optional 1-day on-campus sessions at the beginning of each semester. So I'm going to come to that as I discuss the orientation residency. In addition, there is a global practicum component, which entails an international trip for about a week in the summer. And again, I'm going to have a few slides on the global practicum, but the overall structure, as you can see, is the courses are all online, 2 courses at any one time, 4 courses a semester, and then you have these 2 residencies which are mandatory, and then the global practicum, which is also mandatory at this point. So let me go to the courses first. So as I'm mentioning, the courses are all online, so you're saving on your commuting time, and as I'm mentioning it here, I'm showing it here, it's taught by full-time faculty members only, which means that all of us who are teaching on campus in the regular program are also teaching online. So you get the same level of quality in terms of the faculty members and instructors. We call these courses mostly as asynchronous courses, which essentially means that as the professor, I'm not going to ask you to come online at a particular time of the day or day of the week. The materials are available to you on a week-to-week basis. There are things that you would need to do as part of the course every week, and there are different sets of assignments and requirements throughout the week in these courses. So, but beyond that, you can decide, what is the best time or how you want to do the course material or go through the course material. And there are various models which work depending on what is best for you in terms of your overall schedule. So for some of the former and current students, some of them have basically said, okay, I need to spend probably 2 hours every day to go through the course material. Others actually do a lot of the work when they're off from work. So if you're off during the weekends, then that's the time when people concentrate on the course work, understanding that there will be things to do during the week. We just had a graduating class a couple of weeks back, and one of the students who graduated basically figured out that the best time for him was going to be, he's an early morning riser, so essentially he basically mentioned that I would get up at 4:30 in the morning, and 5 to 7 o'clock in the morning before I go to work is the best time of the day when I can get most of the material of the program done. So it depends on, you find your, your own time where you're most productive and most effective in going through the material, but the flexibility that you get is really from this perspective that you can do the course material according to your own schedule, basically. All right, so the course is actually a combination of these different components are kind of shown here, but most courses are going to have essentially a good part of these list of things. So you'll have audio and video lectures. There will be a lot of discussion forums. Some of us use the traditional discussion forum where you respond to an existing thread, for instance. Others do, there's a tool called VoiceThread where there's a little bit more collaborative session that is possible. Some of us are using some case discussions. Sometimes these are done individually, some are done in groups. Of course, there are wikis and blogs which are used for discussions, individual and group papers, presentations, tests, and quizzes. So you can see that the courses are very, very rich. Many of us use any multimedia components that may be available, like a good video that may be available, let's say on YouTube, for instance, or elsewhere. We tend to end up bringing this into the courses, and we use our the Blackboard learning management system. I don't know whether any of you are familiar with that, but essentially that's our learning management system that is used on campus. So we use the same system or the platform for these online courses. So it's a very rich set of features that are used. So this is nothing close to me being, let's say, a professor giving you a bunch of materials to read over a few days and coming back at the end of the few days to basically, do an exam or answer a few questions on a quiz and things like that. So it's not anything remotely close to that. There's a lot of interaction with the rest of the class. There's a lot of interaction between the professor and the students, and you will therefore need to be on the course, in terms of making sure what's going on in a course like this throughout the week, even though you may figure out your own schedule to do your studying and so on. So for the most part, this has worked great for the current and the previous students, that is, and they felt that the quality of the courses is pretty much the same as it would be in an equivalent, let's say, face-to-face course. All right, so I do want to point out one thing here, as as a director of the program, and also that I teach one of the courses in the program, that as a professor I actually feel that students actually get more out of these online courses than they would in a face-to-face course. And the reason is, again, that in a course like this, if you compare it to a face-to-face course, in a face-to-face scenario, our graduate classes meet on campus once a week for about 2 hours and 20 minutes. So really that time, the 2 hour and 20-minute time, is really the only face time you get with the rest of the class and with the professor. Here you're actually extending that out for the entire 7 days of the week. So you do get a lot more visibility from that perspective. It's also much more productive from a learning perspective. So if there's a set of discussions going on in a particular forum, you get to read not only the others' posts, but you also get time to kind of reflect on the others' postings and do some research on your own if you have to before you make your own contribution. So the net of this is that at the end you do get a lot more value out of these courses, learning from not only the professor but also from the rest of the class, in terms of the particular topics that we're discussing at any particular time during a course or during the program, that is. let me talk a little bit about the orientation residency. So as I was mentioning before, this is going to be over a weekend in August. It's an on-campus event, and we do make this a mandatory attendance for those 3 days, because this is an extremely valuable component in the program as you start the program in the fall. So you're here for 3 days. You get introduced to the program, obviously. You know all the details of what the program would entail. Get to know the pedagogical approach. It's taught very differently from a face-to-face class. You obviously participate in interactive sessions with the other students in the cohort. You meet with the faculty members and the other senior administrators. Essentially, the first 4 courses in the fall, the faculty members who are going to be teaching those 4 courses will be holding a 60 to 90-minute face-to-face session with you during those 3 days. You also get introduced to a few other things like career services. There's a couple of workshops that you go through. You interact with industry executives. So, you know, it's a very rich component of the program in terms of what we do in those 3 days. And so it's very, very important, therefore, to be part of this orientation residency. And given my experience of running this for the last 3 years, the students in the program really get an understanding of what the program entails. They get to know one another because you pretty much do not know who else is in the cohort before you start this residency. And at the end of the 3 days, you pretty much know everybody else. So when you go back out online to the courses and you're doing a discussion online with the rest of the cohort, really you know who that person is. So this is really important. Networking with your cohort becomes really a kind of a sustaining thing throughout the program. And although, as I was mentioning to you before, that yes, there is an option where you can opt out of the cohort and go for a slightly reduced course load, the reality of this program so far has been that a very, very large, almost 100%, I would not say it's 100%, but close to 100% of the students in the program stick to the cohort plan. And one of the main reasons why they do it is because they want to essentially, they're starting the program with a particular group of people and they want to finish the program with the same group. And they get to bond with one another so well that this becomes really a strong, kind of an aspect as to why they stay in the cohort plan. So the networking starts with this orientation residency, and that's why we make it kind of mandatory that you need to be part of these 3 days effects, that is. All right. Let me come to the global practicum. This is another component that has really worked well for the program so far. And this is also, again, everybody's online. As a student, you'll be online on these courses. But you also get together for this global practicum for a week. So the way this works is, and I'm giving you this one slide here, where we went to China in 2012. So this is with our first cohort. And as you can see, we visited Hong Kong, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, and Beijing. So we visited 4 cities. The way we do this is that essentially we leave from here on a Friday and we are back here the following Sunday. So so we say it is 1 week, but it's essentially 1 weekend to the following weekend, that is. And we're visiting some major companies in the countries that we go. So as you can see, in China, we visited Walmart. The Walmart in Shenzhen happens to be actually the Sam's Club with the Walmart is the world's largest Sam's Club in terms of the square footage area. So so that was an interesting business experience to go and talk to the Walmart executives. We met with the Morgan Stanley Asia Pacific CFO. As you can see also, we met the Think Center marketing manager at Lenovo and a few other companies. Not all the companies are mentioned here. But what is also important is to get the cultural immersion, because one of the things that we will do as part of this program is that, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the concentrations, but the strategic business management part of this is very, very important today. As you know, everything is global. And really, we all know, what is going on in China, but unless you go there and kind of experience this firsthand, you really don't get an understanding of what the cultural differences and the immersion part of it is. So if you talk to any of the current and former students, you'll see that they'll kind of say the same thing, that this is, this was easily a life-changing kind of an experience in a way, because, I got to see some things which I never thought, I would experience otherwise. So So we went to China in 2012 with the first cohort, and then last year, this is just another set of comments from one of the marketing faculty members who was on the trip. So this particular faculty member actually teaches the international business course in the program, and there is a tie-in from what we see on this particular trip to his course, which follows the trip in the second fall semester. So he goes on the trip with the students and essentially visits the companies with them, and when they come back and do the course with him, then there's obviously a tie-up between what the people saw on the trip and then how he relates to the international business course. So you can see he kind of highlights this, that global business, cross-cultural business skills, the immersion and the learning experience that you get is invaluable, and there's a very good chance that many of you in your future careers would need or possibly would be asked to do a foreign assignment, and the experience that you gain from this trip is invaluable from that perspective. So last year with the second group of students, we went to Japan. As you can see, we visited four cities again: Tokyo, Yokohama, Kyoto, and Osaka. Major companies in Tokyo and Osaka and some in Yokohama, as you can see. This is also the first year where we had students in the healthcare concentration. So as you can see, we visited some of the pharmaceutical and the hospitals in Japan, essentially. And again, like China, this was an exciting trip, basically. And again, most people, actually all of the students in the program who were on both the China and the Japan trips, I think barring one student across the two groups, none of the others who had been to China or Japan before. So it was a completely new experience that way. And again, remember that this is actually intertwined in the curriculum and in the courses. So this becomes a mandatory component, and where you need to take off for 1 week in the summer. Usually the time period is that we go towards the third week to the fourth week of July, and if we go fourth week of July, then it ends up being around the end of July to early August time frame. But usually, as I said, one Friday to the following Sunday. This summer the group is traveling to South Africa, and you obviously don't have any pictures here because we have not been there yet. Cape Town and Johannesburg is where the group is going. We are planning for about 8 business visits. There is a safari game option as part of the trip, also included as part of those 10 days. So this should be an exciting trip. Actually, we're getting quite a few good visits, including meeting with a couple of CEOs from 2 of the healthcare companies in South Africa, and also we are visiting the University of Johannesburg, and the students are actually going to meet with the MBA students at that university for an evening during our trip during our stay in Johannesburg, that is. So so it's pretty exciting. It brings a completely different perspective to the program, and you do get a sense of understanding of what it takes to do business globally, that is. All right. Let me come to the major concentrations. So the one concentration we have is the strategic business management. This is kind of a general management concentration. So the way the curriculum is structured is, as I was mentioning to you before, this is a 48 credit hour program, which entails essentially 17 courses through the 2 years if you stay in the cohort plan again. And of those 17 courses, 12 courses are what we call is the core curriculum. And essentially in the first year of the program, you will be taking the core courses only. So by the time you go on the global practicum in the summer, you would be finishing up about 10 of these 12 courses. In the second year, you get to the concentration courses, and there are 5 of these, so that's why I have 5 bullet points here. So you can see the strategic business management has 5 courses in corporate financial policy, strategic accounting, management of innovation, information resources, and strategic planning and marketing. So these would give you the focus in terms of the strategic business management concentration in the second year of the program. When we devised the program back in 2011, essentially there was a lot of feedback from potential students in this program, in such a program, that quite a few of the student body are in their mid-careers and therefore are looking for not necessarily a functional specific MBA like in finance and marketing and so on, but more of a general holistic strategic nature of the MBA. So that's how we designed this particular concentration. And as far as we know, this is kind of unique at this point, like no other school in the area has such a concentration in their MBA program, all right? And of course the courses, because they're strategic in nature, incorporate the global strategic aspect of business. As I was mentioning, the second fall semester you'll be also doing the international business course, which will be tying back to the international trip that you'll be doing right before the second fall semester starts. So this is our strategic business management concentration. We also have the strategic healthcare management concentration, very similar in structure to the business management. Again, you have 5 different courses in this area. And again, all courses are taught online here. These are all new courses that were developed as part of the online MBA program. So anybody on the session tonight who is looking potentially at the healthcare concentration would be essentially doing these 5 courses in healthcare in the second year. So as you can see, we are trying to do a multifunctional approach to the healthcare aspects. And so you have a course in information systems, the marketing of healthcare. Of course, HR is important, so there's a HR course in healthcare, and then a finance course, and legal, law and ethics is so important today, as you all know, especially in the healthcare industry. So there is a specific dedicated course in that particular concentrated area, that is. So this is how the structure is for the 2 concentrations that are kind of implicit, or rather entailed within the program structure itself, because these 2 concentrations are actually just unique for the online program. They are not available on campus, that is. But as I was mentioning before, if any of you want to do a different concentration other than these 2 concentrations, then you could do that. The only catch there is that we don't have the bandwidth to offer all the concentration-based courses online. So if you want to do that, then you have to come and take those courses on campus when they're offered for the regular MBA program. And this is actually doable because we do have, as I was mentioning, there are 5 courses as part of each concentration, but one of those 5 courses you can switch out as, so let's say if I'm doing a finance major, I have to take that major concentration on campus. But since I have a strategic finance course as part of the strategic business management, I could basically take that corporate financial policy course as one of the 5 concentration courses. And then when I come to campus for the finance concentration, then I only need to take 4 other courses. All right, so it's doable because, and the reason why I say it's doable is because there were actually 3 students who graduated this May who took this option. So 1 person majored in finance, 1 did in real estate finance, and a 3rd person actually majored in information technology. So they actually came on campus to take these elective courses. And of course, the restriction or the constraint is that you have to be within a certain area geographically of Hempstead campus to be able to do this. But I would tell you that of these 3 students, 1 student was from New Jersey, the other student lives in Manhattan, and as I was mentioning before, the courses meet once a week during the evenings. So they made the provision in their schedule for that particular semester to be here for essentially 1 day in the week in the evenings, and it was possible for them to figure that out so that they could do these other concentrations. So again, if any of you are interested, let us know and we can work that out. Again, we don't need you to do this right away in the first year, because as I was mentioning, the first year is all related to the core curriculum. So you can actually decide to switch into one of these other concentrations in the spring semester, and if you do that, then we can do it at that point of time. All right, at this point, since I'm doing all the talking, I'm going to turn this slide over to Jeff Mon, and he can talk a little bit about the admission standards. So Jeff, you want to take over for this particular slide?
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Yes, I'm Jeff Mon. I'm the Executive Director for the Graduate Business Programs at Hofstra. So for the actual application, We are accepting applications for the fall 2014 semester. First day of classes is on September 2nd. As Dr. Sengupta said, we do have orientation the weekend prior. And I'm sorry, 2 weekends prior. It's not over Memorial Day weekend, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so it's the weekend before, I'm sorry, Labor Day weekend.
Weekend before Labor Day, yes.
Yeah, the weekend before Labor Day weekend. That's the orientation. So we are on a rolling admissions basis, so there are no deadlines. However, we cannot enroll more than 25 students, and we are very close to that mark. So I would suggest students applying as soon as possible. If you are looking to start the online MBA program for the this coming fall semester. The online MBA program only begins in the fall semester. And how we're going to make this easy for you is the online MBA program is one of very few programs that we have that where the master GREs can be waived based off of work experience. The entire application must be submitted online. The attendees to this this webinar will have the application fee waived as long as they at least begin the online application within 48 hours. You do not need to complete it. All you need to do is set up your account for the online application. I can't stress that enough. It has to be within the next 48 hours. And what we require is a resume, standard professional resume, the personal statement, which should be about 1 to 2 pages discussing why you're looking to get a graduate business degree, possibly specifically the online MBA, and your career goals and objectives. We require 2 letters of recommendation. At this point, we're looking for students with 5+ years of work experience, so we would expect both of these recommendations to be professionally based, unless you really have a strong academic tie. Obviously, it goes without saying that personal family members, we're not looking for that. Any international students, the TOEFL or the IELTS would be required as well. And then you would also have to have a one-on-one conversation with Dr. Sengupta to discuss your candidacy for the online MBA program. So again, all these application materials are uploaded with your online application. Once you've uploaded all these items, you'll be able to submit it. For the recommendations, again, all you need to do is enter in the contact information. The online application will send them an email notification with instructions on how you can submit the recommendations online. It's a very simple process. I've done it myself. It's actually a lot easier than sending in hard copies of recommendations, both for you and the person writing the recommendation. And again, once all these are completed and you've submitted the online application, I will be able to retrieve it the next day. Please feel free to keep in contact with both myself and Dr. Sengupta, so we can keep an eye out for your applications, because we would like to turn around these admissions decisions as quickly as possible. Dr. Sengupta, do you have
Yeah, I just want to add to that a couple of things. One is that, as Jeff was explaining, that the GMAT waiver for this program is based on a review of your resume. So as it's being shown here, normally over 5 years of essentially we need at least 5 years of professional experience, but also at a progressive nature, which means you should be showing increasing responsibilities in the workplace over the 5 years and so on. And also you have to be in a managerial position with control over budgets, people, some combination of that. It's a subjective qualitative review, and therefore if you think you qualify for the waiver, you need to send us a copy of your resume. We will have our emails at the end of this session, so you can definitely go and send us an email with your resume if you want us to review that. I should also add to Jeff's point that I think we mentioned this at the beginning, that the fall cohort is as Jeff was mentioning, is the only admission cycle for this program, and it is limited to the first 25 students who are admitted, enrolled, and deposited, basically. So we are not going to admit more than 25 because the online courses need to be kind of small in size, and that really builds the value of the program. So,
Actually, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
There's something missing from this particular slide. In order to submit your application, we also need your undergraduate transcripts. We need the transcripts from all the schools that you took credits towards, and you received credits that counted towards your bachelor's degree. So if you attended one school and transferred to another, we would need both of those transcripts. At the very minimum, to be able to submit your application, we at least need obviously the online application, your undergraduate transcripts, and the resume for us to make a final, so we can actually start the review process. However, all these application materials are required. We do require a personal statement and 2 letters of recommendation. So you will be able to submit your application with your biographical information, the resume, and the transcripts. But again, I reiterate, we will also need a personal statement and the recommendation to make a final decision.
Yeah, I'm not sure how we missed the transcripts part here, but yeah, definitely the transcripts are required. I also should mention that when Jeff mentioned that application fees waived if you apply within 48 hours, that is just to start the application, not to submit all of these credentials, because we know that you cannot submit everything within the next 48 hours. So as long as you start the application, we should be able to waive it.
Your online application account, and that will qualify you for the fee waiver.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Let's just go to a couple of other things. One is the program cost. So this is how the program is structured. It's a $70,000 complete package cost, basically. So this is a locked-in cost for 2 years, which essentially means that it's a graduated payment plan based on the number of credits you take in a particular semester, and you're locked into this particular price if you're admitted this fall for the next 2 years. So it covers the tuition, the cost, all the course materials are covered, the cost for attending the global practicum is covered, and the cost for attending the domestic residencies except for travel is covered. What that means is for the global practicum, you really don't have to do anything other than making sure that you have a passport that you can use for travel and so on, because everything in terms of the arrangement is done by us in terms of the airfare, the air arrangement, the hotels, the ground transportation, the business visits, and everything. All right, and we do offer an option where a student can bring a guest of his or her own if they want to on this particular trip at cost, and it just works out to be a great deal if there's quite a few students who are actually bringing their guests for the South Africa trip this summer. The domestic residencies are also covered, which means that we do have arrangements with the local Marriott, which is right by the campus at Hofstra, where we book a certain number of rooms, and although the sessions are going to be on campus, you do have the option to choose to stay in the hotel if you want to kind of reduce the commute time for those 3 days and so on. All right. And then should you get admitted, there's an initial deposit upon acceptance which is required, which would be $1,000. This is adjusted towards against your fall tuition bill, basically. So it is just to reserve a spot. And again, as I was mentioning, that 25 seats is all we have for this fall. So if you're really interested, we've made a good number of admissions already. But because this is still early June, there's still a few spots left, but we are expecting that the cohort will be full pretty soon. So so if any of you online tonight are interested in, for this fall, please do not wait for too long and make your application happen as soon as you can, because once the 25 seats are done, basically we're going to close the program admittance, basically. I wanted to basically, so this reserves the spot. We're also, I'm not sure if anybody is going to be from the military side or is anybody from the military side on this tonight. We are a Yellow Ribbon program participant, so I'm going to just go to the website for a quick minute here. So any benefits that that you may have as a current and former armed forces services person would be available to you as part of this program. So so again, this supports the program or the cost of the program if some of you online tonight would be looking at this or not. Let me just give you an idea about the cohort, the 3 cohorts we've had so far. So as you can see, we admitted about 18 people in each of the first 2 cohorts. And the first year we had only people in strategic business management. The second year we had 12 out of the 18 in strategic business management, 6 in the healthcare management. And this latest cohort has about 20 students right now. We admitted 22 and 20 are in the program right now. 11 of them in strategic business management, 9 in healthcare. You can see the average experience, the range rather, is from 5 to 30 years for most of these 3 cohorts, and the average experience is around 12 to 13 years. And the location, again, a lot of people from the tri-state area, but a lot of people from the tri-state area are in the program because they cannot simply do an on-campus program because of their schedule and other conflicts, essentially. So, and we do have a small number of people from outside of the tri-state. And the reality of online MBA programs actually nationwide is that most people who are in an online MBA program are actually not very far from the traditional campus from where this program is housed in. So this is not too much out of the ordinary in terms of the student profile. But for this fall also, so if you are in the fall cohort for this year, you will be part of the 4th cohort. And essentially, we're looking at a similar kind of a profile of people that have been admitted so far. And so hoping that some of you would apply and would be here for the fall. So again, I want to kind of stop at this point. So here is our 2 emails here, so you can contact us either through the phone or email. You can also, if you have not gone to the website of the program yet, we have the program website at hofstra.edu/onlinemba. So that's available to you. All the details are there. You can also email me if you want to see how a sample course is run in the program, and I could send you some details with the login IDs and so on, where you can access a sample course and see, what an online course is like. So I want to stop at this point and see if any of you have any questions or not. So anybody has questions? I guess there are no questions so far. So you can chat in and see if there's any question, put a question through the window, and then we can figure out. All right. So I'm going to give it a couple more minutes, and if any of you have already submitted an application to the program before you came online tonight, of course, that means that your application is under review, and we should be getting back to you pretty soon in terms of a decision, and if your application is complete, that is. I just want to turn over the mic to Jeff for a minute to see if he has anything else to add.
No, I just want to reiterate the application process. As Dr. Sengupta mentioned previously, we do have most of the class filled, so I do suggest any students interested in starting in the fall submit their application as soon as possible. If we do fill up for the fall semester and you are admissible into the program, we could always defer your application acceptance to the fall 2015 semester. But we would like you to have every opportunity to start this fall. So again, I would suggest starting the application, submitting it as soon as possible so we can start the review process.
Okay, great, Jeff. I just want to, since we have a few minutes, I just wanted to also mention that we are actually starting a new program in a new location in Manhattan for this fall. which will be not like the online MBA program. It's a slightly different structure, but there what we're going to do is the core curriculum courses will be offered on a face-to-face basis at a location on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. So, and then the concentration courses would be offered online. So that is a new program that is starting. And I don't know if anybody would be interested in that program, then we should contact Jeff Mon as per this email here, so that he can give you some details on that. In that program also, we do have a GMAT waiver policy, like in the online MBA program. And again, we are expecting a sizable number of people in that program for the fall would be in the healthcare area basically, but we're also offering the very same 2 concentrations that we have in the online MBA program are being offered in the Manhattan program. So just so you know, go ahead, Jeff.
Much like the online MBA program, this is going to be a lockstep cohort program. It's a 28-month program, so you would take all the same classes with the same students, and this is more of a hybrid program. 50% of the classes will be taken online, 50% of the classes would be in the classroom. We're scheduling it in such a way where you would only need to be in the classroom 1 day a week. So if you have two classes on that would be classroom oriented, you would have both of those on the same day, and possibly an additional online course in that same semester. So versus the online MBA program, where you would start fall 2014 and graduate May 2016, this is a little bit more extended, where you would start fall 2014 and graduate fall 2016, December 2016. Again, much like the online MBA program, this also does include classes that are offered over the summer, also during the January intersession, and the cap, the max number of students that we can bring into this for the fall semester is 25. So if students accepted, once we have filled that cap, we cannot accept any other new students or any students interested. Please feel free to get in contact with me. It will be at the Eye, Ears, and Throat Hospital up on 66 in Manhattan on the east side.
All right, thank you. So since there are no questions, I guess we're going to end the session tonight. And I want to thank all of you for attending the session tonight. Again, if you have any follow-up questions to us, please email us and let us know so we can kind of respond to you. And I hope to see some of your applications or at least inquiries soon about the program going forward. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.